up to the ocean. Let's take a walk into the sea. Let's take a race into the underside of everything we've ever known and watch it bleed. Let's find a dream between the stars, babe. Let's fall asleep beneath the waves. Let's float above the wretched underside of everything we've ever known and fly away. Destruction's keeper, it's locked inside your soul. With my redeemer of words, fire's burning deeper, will call your fury home. Unleashed, your heart knows love is own. Yeah. Find ourselves upon a mountain or out across the desert plains, and let the wolf rip out the underside of everything you've ever known to bring you pain. Destruction's keeper, it's locked inside your soul. With my destroyer of worlds, that fire burns deeper and calls your fury home. Unleashed, your heart knows love is own. La, 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 tried to cross the ocean. It tried to live within a lie. We let it sink below the underside of everything that ever was and watched it die. Salvation seeker, out through this world you'll roam, consumed by what may never be. But I'm your future, you'll see how you can grow beyond what's left by ruined kings. La, sail across the secret ocean, dive into the secrets that it keeps. We'll venture out beyond the underside of everything that ever was and be released. Let's find a dream between the stars, babe. Let's fall asleep beneath the waves. Let's float above the wretched underside of everything we've ever known and fly away.
This is Joshy P from Moonrunners Music Festival in Chicago. Just wanted to let you guys know that we will be doing another online music festival February 12th through 14th at the Moonrunners Music Festival YouTube channel. We got a great lineup over 3 days, including Mikey Classic and Jake Orvis of the Goddamn Gallows. We got Jesse Wagner, lead singer of the Agrolites, doing a set. We got Wormfoot, which features Uriah from the Goddamn Gallows, and we got Fish Cuts and the Sneaking Orchestra. We got Run Rabbit Run, Johnny Terror. We got a whole bunch of bands. Last False Hope, local news legend. The list goes on and on. So come join us February 12th through 14th at the YouTube channel for Moonrunners Music Festival. See you guys there.
Hey folks, this is Dogbite Harris from Ruckus and the Records. I'm here to tell you about a contest we are doing live via the Ruckus and the Records YouTube channel on Saturday, March 20th, called Ruckus in the 80s. Ruckus in the 80s is a virtual show much like Battle of the Bands. Bands or solo artists will enter 2 of the best 80s cover songs they can come up with for a chance to win a cash prize and 100 drink koozies with their logos printed on them. How the cash prize is determined is each act that enters will be required to pay a $5 entry fee. We at Ruckus will match that to double that money. As of now, the pot is up to $200 and growing daily. The winner will be decided by the votes of the viewers via an online voters poll. If you or someone you know is interested in entering or sponsorship opportunities, hit up any of the Ruckus and the Records social media pages or send an email to Ruckus and the Records, all lowercase letters, at yahoo.com for more details. We hope to see you guys in the chat room on March 20th at the Ruckus and the Records YouTube page. Alrighty, folks, with me on the Zoom here, I got Acousta Noir, also known to his friends as Josh. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. What have you been up to?
Oh, bud.
It's been a long fucking, year and a half for you. I know that.
Yeah, man. I've been up to a lot, I guess. I mean, recently, I recently started going back to work, so that's good. And then been writing some, I've been writing some songs. But for a lot of the folks that don't know, I guess I was touring real hard, and I was touring real hard and playing a lot, and then I kind of took a break from the road musically for a little while in 2019, the beginning of 2019, and went to work doing some millwright stuff to make some money. I got a really good offer from a company to go up to Spokane, Washington, and do some mechanical millwright work for them for like almost 6 months. And so I went and did that, and then I came back from that job and went on like a little 2-week kind of relaxed tour down through the West Coast. And when I got back from it, got diagnosed with throat cancer, and that was in that was in late July, early August of 2019. And so,
What were the red flags, man? What made you think something was up?
well, a couple years before, right before I left for a European tour, I had noticed like a swollen lymph node on the right side of my neck, and it wasn't like real bad or anything, but I just kind of noticed it being there, and it didn't go away. I think it was there for probably like maybe 3 months before I went to the doctor, and I just kind of assumed like, no, maybe I'm sick, because I did have a bit of a sore throat and like kind of a sinus infection,
Yeah, and
and
the lymph node's not like, and that's not, I don't know, I get them all the time, so it's not
right, it's just like
like
having like
me. Yeah.
having a swollen gland in your neck a little bit. And like I said, it wasn't like real big, or it didn't hurt, wasn't doing anything. It was just kind of like this little bit of lump that I kind of noticed that showed up when I got sick and then didn't go away. And then after 3 months, I popped into the doctor because I was getting ready to go on a 3-month European tour. And I was like, well, I better make sure this isn't some kind of a serious infection that I'm ignoring before I leave the country for 3 months. And they looked at it and they did some tests and they didn't find anything, said it wasn't strep or anything like that. And they went and had me do an ultrasound, I think is what, yeah, an ultrasound. And like, they're like, oh no, it doesn't look like anything serious. It's probably just a cyst or something. You probably got sick, it got swollen, and it just got some fluid trapped in there. It'll get better. And I was like, okay. So I ignored it and went on tour. Well, like, I don't know, about, it must have been about halfway through that tour, I really started noticing it bothering me. Like, it started to get bigger. And it was actually pushing on like my airway a little bit, and kind of, I could feel it affecting me when I was singing. I'm starting to really kind of like wear my voice out faster than normal. And I started popping ibuprofen to try and get the swelling to come down, and it would help a little bit, but I was going through like 1,600 milligrams of ibuprofen a day.
No shit,
And
that's not good.
no, it's hard on the gut. And so I started, of course, I talked to my doctor Google and figured out that I was going to die the next day. And then, but no, really though, I kind of did some research on my own and figured out that it was, it was potentially symptomatic of cancer, certain types of cancer. And so from what I saw, like, that was something to really look at. And everything I read was saying that, cancer really feeds heavily on sugar and alcohol and, on simple carbohydrates and stuff like that. So I was like, well, the least I can do right now is kind of alter my diet a little bit. And so I did. I was 2 months into this 3-month European tour, and I started making some dietary changes. And then I was noticing other effects anyways. I was noticing other issues coming from the booze, like anxiety and just like super irritability, until I had a couple drinks, and then it would chill out. And I was like, okay, well, it's obviously affecting my mood, so this is an issue. So I quit drinking. Actually, the last time I got drunk was where was that city? I think it was in Nancy, France. The night that I played a show with Bob Wayne and those guys, and not Bob obviously, but Elmer and the other fellas. We kind of lit it up a little hard at that place. They just kept feeding me whiskey, and I had a hotel room, so I went for it. And I woke up the next day and I just felt like fried hell. I'm like, yeah, that's it, we're done. So I quit drinking right then. I was in, man, that must have been in, I want to say in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was in 2017. So when I came back, I really pushed it with the doctors, hit the doctors hard, and they just wouldn't they just wouldn't listen to me. They wouldn't bite that it was potentially something more serious than just a benign cyst. And I ended up going through a couple of like scans. I can't remember if it was MRIs or CAT scans, whatever it was. And they're like, oh, well, let's wait 6 months and come back again and see if it gets worse or if it gets better. And then they said that since it got a little bit better, like smaller in size when I quit drinking and stuff, like, oh, maybe we'll just keep monitoring it for that. But finally, after like a year, I went back in and it was like, yo, it's still here and it's growing again. I'm still not drinking, so that's obviously not it. And they did a couple more scans and then finally referred me to an ear, nose, and throat specialist, which took me 8 months to get in to see him. So all in all, when it was all said and done, it was almost 2.5 years from the time I noticed it to when I finally was able to get into the ear, nose, and throat doctor. He took about a 5-minute look at it and said that it was a serious issue and I needed to come back in immediately and get it biopsied.
Oh,
So,
fuck, man.
yeah, so we did that, and it turned out that he could see 3 very swollen lymph nodes in my neck. So he biopsied them with a little needle, and then a week later came back that they were positive for cancer cells, and it was a squamous cell carcinoma. So, and it was, just for everyone out there, like, it was HPV 16 positive. So that's what gave me cancer. I got exposed to HPV sometime when I was a teenager, as what he said, probably in the last 15, 20 years before that. So sometime in my teens or early 20s, I was exposed to it, and my body cleared the infection just like any person normally would, but um, remnants of the cells were left behind that caused a slight mutation that over a couple decades turned into some cancer cells. And like, people need to be more aware of this because it's much more prevalent than than I think a lot of people are aware of. But like Eddie Spaghetti from the Super Suckers,
Yeah, he got it
he
too.
had the same exact kind of cancer. Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden had the exact same kind of cancer. Michael Douglas had the same kind of cancer. Dave Mustaine from Megadeth had the same kind of cancer. This is the kind of cancer that just killed Eddie Van Halen. So it's not unknown to the world of rock and roll,
Yeah, I
apparently.
was gonna say there's probably something to do with touring, and it sounds like, I mean, some of those guys aren't singers, but even when you're not a singer and you're a musician, you put a lot of strain on your voice.
You
And
put a lot of pussy in your face, I think is what it is.
oh,
I think it's exactly what happened. So, not to be crass, but that is
yeah, yeah, that's fucking
that's
funny.
where that's. I mean, and I know personally, I know 5 different women who, all under the age of 35, developed cervical cancer from the exact same thing. So it's just something to be aware of and be honest about, open
Mhm.
about. If you've been exposed to it, just stay on top of it. It's just something that, I mean, and they say 85, like I think it's like 85% of sexually active Americans uh, will be exposed to it or have been exposed to it within the first 5 years of being sexually active.
Mhm.
So it's not, this isn't AIDS, this isn't, gonorrhea, chlamydia. This is something that the vast majority of sexually active Americans and probably worldwide human beings have come in contact with or are carrying with them, and it has no symptoms of any kind. And there's, especially for men, there's no tests to even find out if you've ever had it or been exposed to it until you either develop genital warts or cancer, depending on which of like the 35 different variants you come in contact with.
Yeah.
So so yeah, man. Fortunately, the good news is the doctor told me, he's like, "Well, you have cancer. That sucks a bunch." But good news is that it's one of the most treatable types of cancer that they've come across. So if you get a squamous cell carcinoma in the tongue or the throat that is not derived from HPV exposure, it's very often from prolonged use of alcohol and tobacco products, especially smoking, but chewing tobacco, that kind of stuff, that they've seen it like long-term drinkers and smokers, and they don't generally get it until they're in their like 60s, and it has a much lower survivability rate if it's
Mhm.
that type. But if you're younger, there's a real good chance that you've got it because of this. And mine was treated with surgery and radiation. I didn't
I
have.
was gonna say it still put you through hell, though. I know that.
Yeah, it was rough, but at
I can
least
still, I can hear you struggling with your voice right now, and I've known you for a few years, and this is the first time I've talked to you since you went through all this, but never recall you ever having any issues with your voice whatsoever. You always had a very powerful voice.
well, the big one is that for the radiation, fucked up my salivary glands real bad. So 6 weeks, I went through 6 weeks of radiation. Every 5 days a week for 6 weeks, and they radiated my neck and my the base of my tongue, and so my salivary glands don't work very
Okay.
good anymore. They said it might come back eventually, but it's just probably something I'll have to struggle with for the rest of my life. So like dealing with, yeah, I drink a lot of water, but it's just shit gets dried out easily, and that's been a struggle for singing and stuff for sure, and for talking, but it's manageable. I mean, it's better than the alternative, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But but yeah, man, I'm sure it's still no walk in the park, dude.
No, they the first thing they did is they went in and took my tonsils out because I still had those. And for anyone who's never had a tonsillectomy at the age of, I guess I was 36 at the time. It's rough. So, it was pretty miserable for like about 10 to 14 days there.
Oh,
So
fuck.
they took those out because that they said that that's usually the first place that a tumor will develop is the tonsils. And so they took my tonsils out and they biopsied them. And they were fine. So then they scheduled me a consultation at OHSU, which is the Oregon Health and Sciences University in Portland, Oregon.
Mhm.
The little town that I live in doesn't offer much as far as the way in the way of like advanced cancer treatment.
Where are you at these days? Are you back in Roseburg?
Yeah, still in Roseburg for now. Hopefully not for too much longer, but for now, here we are. So we can talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't want to. Yeah, too
Um,
get too far off. And
but they sent me up to OHSU, and I met with the head of the head and neck cancer specialist department, and this guy literally wrote the book on modern surgery techniques for this type of cancer. His name is Dr. Anderson. It's Pete. I think it's Pete Anderson. A really nice guy, very knowledgeable, and he walked me through it pretty solidly, explained very clearly what I was going through and also my treatment options, and you know, reassured me that if it were him or his kid that he would be suggesting the exact same course of treatment. And so what they did is they went in, they found the tumor was at the very base of my tongue in what's called your lingual tonsil. So you actually have two more sets of, you have your adenoids and then you have your palatine tonsils, which are the ones most people know about. And then you have lingual tonsils, which are at the very base of your tongue, which is like way back down in your throat. And so they had to remove the tumor, which was on the tonsil, as well as some of the surrounding tissue, including part of my epiglottis, which is the little flap that closes your airway when you swallow.
Mhm.
And so they went in with some robots, and like it was called like the Da Vinci system, some laser system. They went in there and with like video cameras and little robots and cut it out. They said that what the area of my tongue and stuff they cut out was about the size of the bottom of a beer bottle. So you imagine that, a
Jesus
couple
Christ.
2 inches. Yeah, it was pretty heavy. And then at the same time that they did that surgery, they cut open my neck, and they splayed my neck open and on my right side and removed I think like 48 lymph nodes, and then stitched me back up. And Doc was cool though. He said he did his best to like follow the lines of the tattoo I had on my neck with the incision so that it didn't like tear it up too bad, which I was like, you don't have to do that, but I appreciate it, I guess. Um, yeah, so man, I ended up spending a week in the hospital. It was like an 8-hour surgery, and then I spent about a week in the hospital up there um, afterwards, and then they sent me home, and I spent another week at home. I had a tube up my nose that went down into my stomach. That was how I was feeding myself through a little rubber tube, just pouring this weird formula stuff in there. I couldn't swallow. I couldn't hardly talk. It took me a couple months to be able to get my like articulated speech back to a fairly normal level. I mean, half my tongue was basically paralyzed for a couple months, half my face, half my tongue. And then from there, it was, then we started radiation treatment a couple months later, and that was a whole new world of fucking misery. And as I had started to recover from the surgery enough to be able to like start eating soft foods and stuff again, and drinking a little more comfortably. Bam, that radiation came in and just sent all that back to zero. And I had a feeding tube installed. They poked a hole in my stomach and put a little tube in there that I had to feed myself through for a few months. And it was a bummer. Even and then after it was all said and done, after the radiation was over, about 6 weeks later, I developed a weird, because that's what happens is you finish radiation, and then the worst of the effects that you feel are about 4 to 6 weeks after the radiation is done. It's
Fuck.
like it's a latency thing that, like, the effects come on, and so it's not like you don't start feeling bad until like week 3, but then you feel like hell until you don't start to begin to feel better until like week 4 or 5, 6 after you're done. So it was like the end of January, right after my birthday, last year actually. started developing what I thought was like a little canker sore or something like on the back of my throat, and it just turned into a massive ulcer that went down my esophagus and just ruined it for any type of drinking and eating, for fuck until like I don't think it started to feel better until about May. Um, yeah, so a few months there. I lost a lot of weight. I'm 6'1", and I've always been skinny. I started treatment at 75 pounds, about 175 pounds, and I got down to like 138 pounds. So a little over 40 pounds I lost, and then, or 30 pounds, a little over 30 pounds I lost, which is not, that's not a little bit for me.
Yeah, no, somebody like you. For me, losing 30 pounds, you can't even tell. But for somebody your size, yeah, it makes you go from looking normal to looking like you got fucking
Yeah,
cancer, I guess.
yeah, exactly. I look like a cancer patient that had just walked out of the gates of Auschwitz. It was,
Yeah, fucking A, man. What a
I had a
battle,
lot of
dude.
people, yeah, I had a lot of people telling me, oh, you look like walking death. You're
Hey,
gray. Oh,
thanks.
yeah, I was like, oh, yeah, I know, I feel it, man. So yeah, and after that, it was just, you know, start and eat as much as I can. Obviously, eating's really difficult still. It's a struggle, but at first it was so hard because my salivary glands weren't working at all, and it hurt to swallow. To chew was hard. It was difficult to manipulate things around in my mouth. My tongue was still recovering. So I just was like drinking the shit out of old people shakes and like whole milk, chocolate milk, and even still I try to drink a couple insures every day. I drink a 16-ounce glass of whole milk with every meal, and it's just like, just got to do what you got to do to put the calories back in your body and try to put the weight back on. So
Yeah, well, unless you're me, then you should probably avoid a few.
but, but so man, like that was the majority of my last, that was the last half of 2019 and the first half of 2020. Like
Son of a bitch, man.
yeah, I didn't get to really pay much attention to COVID because I was dealing with the other C word.
Yeah, glad you
And
didn't get that shit though through the whole
yeah,
thing.
no, man, I've been fine for all that. And as soon as I started feeling better, I started writing some songs. I couldn't really sing, but I could write and I could try to like, kind of hash out the melodies in my
Feel
head.
normal again.
Yeah, I started doing that in like maybe in January. I started kind of trying to play with some new stuff, and I've got 3 new songs that are completed. And I did get to do a few shows, like some outdoor shows over the summer. But I mean, nothing even close to what we would consider a normal gig schedule. But I,
Did
I
you
did a
make it to
couple.
Johnny's at all while you're out?
What's that?
Did you make it to Johnny's in Medford at all while you're out messing around?
I did actually. It's funny.
Yeah.
I did do one show at Johnny B's with. There's the other thing. I started playing banjo in a band called the John Doe Boys, which
Yeah, I saw
you're
that.
familiar
That's
with.
cool.
Yeah. So we did a live stream. We did a live stream gig with like I think there was maybe 10 people there. Actually at the show at Johnny B's, and this was back in like no, July maybe? June or July. It's been a while. But we did the one, and then and then things got real screwy and we weren't able to do anything indoors anymore. So everything we've really done since then has been like I said, been outdoors. Or there was one live stream that we did at this place in Grants Pass called The Hive. It's HIIVE. It's like a co-working space, and it was just the band and the 2 hosts that were sitting at their computers like on the other side of the room. We did one of those, and I'll actually be doing one this coming Saturday on the
Oh,
6th for the same at the same place.
okay, cool, man.
So that'll be my first. It's gonna be my first live stream performance that I've done as Acousta Noir, and it'll be the first performance I've even done in quite a while. I think the last one I did was probably back in maybe November. I'm not even sure. It's been a while. So like I said, I've been writing. I did some home recording. It ain't great because I'm not a recording artist or an engineer, but I did record a few songs. I got 4. So there's 3 brand new songs, and they are all songs that have been written since my recovery has started. And then I did a cover of a Decemberist song that kind of sort of fits the theme. It's one that I've done live for a really long time at longer shows. It's a song people seem to like, so I just keep doing it. And I put a little, these are all just real simple. It's just acoustic guitar, and my vocals, just recording at home. I said there was minimal vocal layering done on a couple of them, and for one of the songs, Shadow, I wrote what I feel is kind of a fun little lead guitar part, and so I did an overdub with it and threw that in there. But that's as much as you get as far as production value with these. They're real stripped down. There's no drums. There's nothing. It's like I said, they're just demo versions, but it's something to put out there to the fans. I guess if there are any left to listen to pick up until I can get back out there and get out to Bend and get back to the studio and do it for real, which is a good thing I did them though, because I had a bunch of stuff recorded for a new album and I wanted to kind of redo a lot of it, and now I've got 3 brand new songs to add to it, so I can take out maybe a couple of versions of older songs that I had re-recorded, and we can bring some more new music to the folks. But yeah, that'll be in the near future, hopefully. So this new little bits, it's just a little EP, calling it Lobo Sin Luna. So it's some Spanish, trying to be fancy. But
what's that translate to?
Wolf without a moon.
No,
and it relates to a lyric in one of the songs that kind of hit me hard when I wrote it, and I felt clever. So I like it. But yeah, I'm going to be putting together a little bit of artwork I'm working on right now for it. It's nothing fancy, but it's just something to put up there, and it'll be available to download, purchase and download on my Bandcamp, which you can get to by going to AcoustaNoir.com. And I should have that uploaded and ready for everyone to check out tonight as we're recording this. Is
nice.
Monday, February 1st. I don't know when this will come out, but
yeah, probably Friday. I do got a pretty big week, so
cool.
Friday
Well,
I think is when it'll come out.
by the time anybody hears this, you can go to AcoustaNoir.com and check that out and listen to it if you like, and send me hate mail if it's terrible.
I doubt anybody's gonna send you any hate mail.
I sure hope not. But that is my 2020, last half of 2019, 2020 in a nutshell, man. I spent a lot of time on the couch. I bought a recliner. I was real sick for a lot of it, and then as soon as I started feeling better, the whole world shut down, and so it's been discouraging to say the least. But I've been trying to find light in it. I took my motorcycle, I took my bike out, and I went on a ride. I rode to Tijuana, Mexico back in October, just rode down and enjoyed an afternoon in Tijuana, and then spent a couple days getting back. It's just something to do before the weather changed. And like I said, I've been going back to work. I just recently started going back to work for that same millwright company. We're up doing a big project for Amazon in Portland. So we'll see where that goes. I did about a week and a half's worth of work for them, and then we're on hold now waiting for some permits to get cleared. So hopefully we'll be going back here in the next couple of days and then see what's next after that. How have you been?
Oh, not too bad, man. Shit. I'm essential, so not much change for me, aside from just fucking losing, not being able to do shows. We were planning on doing some pretty big shows last year, but that didn't happen. So yeah, but no, we're doing pretty good, man. I'm glad that you're still around and you're still doing good. Or doing a lot better anyways,
Yeah, me too.
I was glad to get you on the show. I really wanted to get you to talk about your journey a little bit, because like typically when things like what you went through happen, there's a very big rush at the beginning of support,
Hmm.
and then it kind of goes away. And uh, I imagine you probably dealt with a lot of that. And I know you probably don't want to say anything, and that's fine. But
Oh, no, man. Actually, um, you're right. There was a very large rush of support in the beginning, which I am unendingly thankful for. I probably would not have had as easy of a time with everything had it not been for the fucking amazing musical community. And I'm talking friends, fans, people I don't know, people in other countries that I do know, colleagues, other musicians, ex-lovers. It's just like the whole gamut, everyone from grandma to somebody that you don't know in the middle of Germany really did come together. I I fortunately was working hard, and so I had money saved up. Not a lot, but I had some, and was able to do a couple of last minute gigs here locally right before I started my first surgery as like kind of a fundraiser. And the local community really pitched in and helped out. And then there was a GoFundMe that got started, and through that, I mean, it wasn't astronomical numbers, but I would say like all in all, from the people who donated to me through my GoFundMe and through PayPal, and just like random private donations and stuff, and then from the couple of fundraiser shows that happened, I'd say there was probably right in the neighborhood of $10,000, maybe ten to $12,000 that came in, and that is 100% what kept me in my house and able to do my recovery still in my own home, kept the lights on, and kept me from just falling into financial ruin uh, until COVID happened and unemployment started paying, and so did a disability came through in uh, in the middle of 2020. So I mean, we're talking, I think it was August, maybe August of 2020, that I finally started getting some unemployment benefits, and my disability kicked in. And but it was such a narrow margin. I mean, when I got that first disability check, I think before it showed up, I was down to like $300 in my savings, in my checking and savings account, and I didn't know how I was going to pay rent the next month.
sure.
But that support from everybody, that's what got me through. And so it was, like you said, it was all front loaded, but those things, as we know, they generally tend to be. But it was okay because that was when I needed it, and I budgeted it well. I didn't go out and spend it on stupid shit, and I just paid for the essentials with it, and then was able to make it through until the financial support started to wane. Which, who can blame anybody for not wanting to donate to some rock and roller with cancer when everything, jobs are being lost and mortgages are being put on hold. And I'm amazed that I got any kind of financial support from anybody after COVID started to hit us all. But there was still a little bit. So I'm like I said, I'm endlessly thankful for that. And
Yeah.
it for me, I was able to. I don't want to say I was able to pull myself back up, but it's like through stubborn determination and good medical care, and thankfully I had organ health plan insurance, so that paid for everything. I was able to recover enough, and through the support of friends and family and stuff like that, get myself healthy enough to where I was able to start figuring out how to get my own income back right at the time that the financial support started to wane from other people. And like, I can't fault anyone for that. But it is, I wouldn't say I've been forgotten, but it is that you're right though. There was like, it did, like, I wasn't the the topic of the week anymore for a lot of folks, which
In
is
some
fine.
ways, it might have been kind of nice though
Yeah,
to
it
not
was.
be the topic of the week, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, but what I was getting at is like, we kind of like spent a few months just really not knowing a whole lot of what was going on, and I assumed it was because you were
Mhm.
fucking sick, you know. And
Yeah, there was that. I've been laying pretty low for a little while, and just kind of like trying to focus on stuff. And that the world got so twisted and upside down with everything that I mean, all the social media platforms kind of they just became unpleasant places to be for a lot of folks for a lot of time. And even if you were on the side of the arguments that were being made, it was still really draining to listen to people screaming all the time about everything. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, we know, but like what are you gonna do? I
mhm.
mean,
Treating each other like shit's not the answer, you know.
no, and I just couldn't pay too much attention to it. I'd watch the news and I'd keep up to date with what was going on, but like it wasn't it didn't help my mental sanity to be scrolling through that stuff, listening to horror story after horror story and violent opinion after violent opinion. And so I just kind of backed away from it for a while, and I'd pop in every once in a while if I had something positive to share with folks, and that's where I would kind of leave it.
Hmm. Well, good to see you back, buddy. You're looking good. Your hair's all long now. That's crazy.
Yeah, dude, it's
You guys were so well kept when I first met you. I like the long, wild hair, though, man. And
it's
who would have known
yeah.
you were so fucking gray?
I know, right? Where's this one? Yeah,
Yeah,
woo. Yeah,
the
man.
same way, dude. I'm getting bad too with my hair. I'm surprised it's not more gray.
I started letting it grow uh in 2019 just cause I don't know, I had damn near a shaved head, and then I uh I started letting it grow. I think it was at the behest of a lady or something probably at first. And then I just kind of like I was working and I was busy and didn't have time for a haircut, didn't care. And then I got sick, and I was like, well, whatever, I'll just keep it up. And then like my beard all fell out from the radiation. I was like, well, I'm holding on to something, damn it. So I just let the hair keep growing. But now it's like, yeah, it's down to my chest. It's the longest it's ever been. So I figured we'll just roll with it until I either get so sick of it that I snap and cut it all off, or I have to because of work or something. But I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. I mean, I had mine long for a lot of years, and then I
Hmm.
just decided to cut it all off. And I'll tell you, I think it's more of a pain in the ass to deal with when it's kind of short than it is when it's long. Because
It
I just
can be,
I just
yeah,
throw mine back, man. When I had mine, it was all styled and shit, so it took like fucking 15 extra minutes in the morning, which for me, I don't have. Like I
yeah,
get up,
right.
I shower, I get the fuck out. I don't have 15 extra minutes to comb my hair, and put product in it and
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. I just throw it up, and like if I'm gonna go out for a ride, so if I'm going to work or something like that, I'll put it back in like a braid,
uh
real quick, and that seems to work. But it's fun. I mean, I'm enjoying it. I had long hair all through high school and stuff, and it's been a really long time. And I did it again, well, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, and then donated it to like the wigs for cancer patients.
yeah.
And I've kind of been telling myself that's probably what I'm gonna do now. I don't know if they'll
Yeah.
take it because it's as gray as it is, but I just let it grow for
They took mine and mine was pretty gray.
okay.
Mine actually got grayer when I cut it too and when it came back.
Oh yeah.
But I'm thinking about doing it too because I'm about one thing's for sure is like I've been trying to make a better attempt of like not being an unhealthy piece of shit, you know. And
Right, I've been seeing that.
so but with COVID that's been hard. The gym's about to open back up and every time I get in the gym I'm like I'm going to cut this shit off cuz it's like that's the only place I hate it really is in the gym cuz then it gets fucking everywhere. It's like
Yeah.
your rubber band's pulling it out cuz you're moving a certain way or whatever, but who knows.
Are
Uh
your are your gyms still shut down up
They're
there?
supposed to open back up this week,
Oh,
so
that's good. They've been open here in Roseburg. The Planet Fitness has anyways for
really that's
like,
weird because
but only for, I want to say maybe not even a month. Maybe
uh,
I think they opened up like January 5th or something like that. Like
I
right
wonder if
after.
you guys are down a phase than us because we're like in whatever the worst phase it can be because
We
nobody wears
must
a
be
mask.
because we're still you can eat in inside restaurants.
You
Uh,
must be up a phase
yeah.
from us then
And
because we
I
went
know.
back to that place where we were able to eat in restaurants and we were able to go back to the gym
Hmm.
and then we lost it because we got into extreme again or whatever and then they let us have it back. I don't know. It's been fucking frustrating. I feel
Is
like
it your whole county? Is that how it's being rated?
yeah. It's Morrow County, so your county must be even with Roseburg in it. It must be doing better than ours.
I think so. I think statistically we've actually had really low numbers like through this whole thing. We've
For
been
for some
we're,
reason, I thought Roseburg was in Lane, but it's probably not.
it's Douglas County. Yeah.
Douglas.
Yeah, we're the
Yeah, Lane, because
secret
Lane's
county
one of the
seat.
fucking worst. Which is I'm
Right.
surprised they haven't carried that shit into your county.
I know. But
Because
I
then
don't know.
people like that
We're,
will go to Roseburg just so they can eat in a restaurant.
We've had a lot of that actually. When it first started happening, we were seeing all kinds of people from all kinds of places, different license plates and stuff, and then other people we would see them in the restaurant here, and they'd be like, "Yeah, I just came down here just because I wanted to go out to dinner," and it's like, "Get out of our town!" Uh, we had, I mean,
Thanks.
movie.
Next week we won't be able to do this.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the beginning. I want to say through all the way through like midsummer, maybe even late summer. The movie theaters were still open. They were showing old movies. $5, you could go. I went and watched Goonies, Jurassic Park, Ghostbusters, Blade Runner. What else did I see? I saw like 7 movies, and they were all these like old classic movies for $5 a pop. And but of course, every time I went to the theater, there was like one other person in the movie theater, maybe,
Mhm.
so that was awesome. But eventually they backed that off and then closed us down again and then reopened and then closed it down and then like I think the gym's been open and closed like 3 times, but it's open now. But I know that like when I was doing work when I was up there in Portland for that job and I'll be going back there. No, they're completely shut down up
Yeah,
there. None of
everything
the
closed down like
yeah,
a kicks ass there.
yeah. I'm like, God dang it. But I mean, gotta do what you gotta do to get
Yeah.
better. I mean, it's
Well, this, and I've used it as an excuse. When COVID hit, I was kind of on a slippery slope. I did really good for about 7, 8 months,
hmm
and I was already fucking up on my diet. And I think, and my doctor kind of warned me. He was kind of like, you should probably let up on yourself like a little bit because if not, you're gonna have a complete meltdown. Because I was like low carb, no sugar, fucking
it's
doing really good.
so
But
good for you, but it's hard to maintain.
yeah,
It
but
really
he was like,
is.
I'm a bit worried that you're gonna just fucking melt down. So like, he's like, and it's all right to like have something every once in a while. So, but anyways, I fucking went off the rails, got back on him. I've been yo-yoing it, but I told myself this time because my excuse has always been like, "Oh, the gym shut down. Fuck it." I was like, this time if the gym shuts down again, I'm gonna figure it out. Like, I'm not fucking losing any progress again.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Um.
they're supposed to open back up this week. So
Well, good. That'll be good.
yeah, I'm excited because I've been eating like fucking garbage, and my wife just got out of surgery, and we were talking about how we're doing good last year and how we both feel like shit. So it's time to get back on it and start doing it again.
Yeah, and I know how it can be because like I said, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum where
Uh
it's like
huh.
I'm trying to gain weight, but still, it's when you focus on something like that, like I gotta go to the gym 5 days a week, I gotta get in there, do my heavy lifting, and then I gotta make sure I'm eating X, Y, and Z, this many calories a day. I gotta get my macros in. It's just like you just want to say fuck it. I just want to eat like some chicken wings and go to bed and like not worry about it. It does it takes the fun out of eating and like that's
Yeah.
it's one of
Well,
life's
that's
simple
the thing with
pleasures.
me, man, is like I've quit doing a bunch of shit in my life and I've replaced it all with eating.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the fucking shitty thing is like, so like food is my new addiction and my body reacts to it almost like it reacts to anything else I've ever used as a crutch to make me happy. You know,
Hmm.
my body releases endorphins. I swear to God, if I shove a bunch of shit in my face, is if I was shoving pills or booze in there, you know, and
Well,
then
and it has to. I mean, because otherwise, like you say, you think to yourself like, well, why would I do this? Like
Mhm.
I know it's bad for me. I don't like the what it does to me and stuff. So if it wasn't for that reward center, then it wouldn't work. And that's why it doesn't work for other people. And that's why other people do they have, and we all have vices. No one's free of any of that
No,
nonsense.
no, no. Actually,
It's
working out's a lot of people's vices. You know, I
can be,
see
yeah.
there's a guy in my gym, and we're in a small community, so like, uh, you learn a lot about people, and I won't go too far into it, but anyways, the guy that was in this gym, he got like so far into it, he had a fucking meltdown. Like he was shooting roids and shit, and
Oh
like
no.
fucking had this, just was like working out like 20 hours a day. Like if he
Going
wasn't
full
working, he was
savage.
like working out and like sleeping like 2 hours a day, and he had like a full on meltdown, and
Yeah. What are you
like
even
there's
trying to do, man?
yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's like, what's the point? Like, what are you like avoiding death? Like, because you're gonna have a fucking heart attack.
Yeah.
Like you can overdo weights and fitness just like you can anything in this
Oh
world.
yeah, man. I mean, you see it all the time. You look at those guys. There's those dudes that everyone looks to as like the modicum of fitness. They look at them like they're their mentors. They're I don't want to say God, but like they follow them
Mhm.
with a fidelity that is uncommon between humans, and it's those guys like Cameron Haynes and what's his name, Jocko Willnick, and uh, there's a bunch of those dudes. They always end up on like the Joe Rogan podcast and stuff,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
out there.
yeah.
They're out there, 4:30 every morning. I'm in the gym for an hour and a half before I go to work, and then I run a marathon every day, and it's just like, fucking why? What are
Uh,
you doing? Like, what
when
you
you hit
you're
about
not.
70, you're gonna wonder what the fuck you did with your
Well,
life, probably.
I mean, it's one thing to like be ultra fit, I guess, but and just be healthy for longevity's sake and the comfort of living. I get it. Like me, like when I go to the gym, if people always like, why do you work out? And I'm like, I work out because I have been a skinny little dude my whole life. And unfortunately, I got myself into a trade that requires a certain amount of physical strength. Like I have to pick up heavy stuff and I gotta turn bolts and fucking, I just swing hammers. And so I like to keep myself uh my fitness level at a point where the things that I do for work aren't so difficult and so painful. That's like I just want to be strong enough to make the things I have to do every day a little bit easier. I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder or anything. I just don't want it to hurt so bad when I get up in the morning. And that's the fact of the matter. But there's a lot of folks out there that you can see and like you hear their stories and you're like, oh, I get it. You are obsessed with what you're doing because you were at 450 pounds at one point, and then now you're at 180 pounds, and you can
Don't want to lose
run.
it.
You
Yeah, you
can
don't want
yeah,
to.
you can run 100 miles without stopping, and it's like I get it. There's something in there like it affects you differently, and so I mean, we're all different, and like I said, we all have our vices, and some of them are worse for us than others. But um, you just have to kind of I suppose, take it all with a bit of moderation, and
Yeah,
try not to let yourself get to that level of obsession to where you burn out on something that is actually good for you.
exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
It's just the little bits every day. I mean, when it comes to eating, like I have no place in telling anyone else how to lose weight because who the fuck am I? What you need to do, but
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah. You've never had that issue.
no. But I think it's just, I mean, that's what everyone says. There's so many people out there that are looking for like a magic pill or the magic
Mhm.
diet plan, and it's just like, dude,
Yeah,
it's
just do
just
it.
it's the simple science is it's just like it's just diet and exercise. Like you got to move and you got to eat and you got to do the two of them in combination to where you are in a caloric deficit. to where you're burning more than you're eating, and that will work. You know, the slower or faster you do it, or the harder you push, you know, the heavier or lighter, I guess, your results will be. But I mean, that is just basic science, and that's the same for me. You know, like I got to gain weight. I just need to make sure I eat X amount of calories more than I'm burning every day, which is not always easy to do, but
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you got a whole different problem though. You know, I've had friends like you that like their metabolism burns so fucking quick that they have problems keeping weight on. You know,
yeah. I mean,
and,
that's the truth of it. If I get out on the road and I don't eat enough and I'm not paying attention to it, next thing I know, I'm like, I'm losing weight, man. So I gotta do something about it. I have a
Mhm.
problem.
Yeah.
But, so what's up with you musically? You been doing anything at all?
I've done. It's kind of funny because I've lived next to this guy for like 2 years, and anybody who listens to this podcast is probably tired of hearing this story because I've told it a bunch, but it's really cool to me. But but so I lived next to this guy for like 2 years, and the house that you came to when you were in the area.
And I own.
Yeah, yeah, and uh, it turns out this guy owned a recording studio in Austin, Texas called Sweatbox Studio. And he's recorded a bunch of guys like Scott Byram and Nashville Pussy and endless fucking people that we kind of know in our scene, you
Okay.
know? So it's pretty cool. He set up a home studio in his house. So I've been learning a bit from him about how to produce and shit like that. And
Nice.
we started working on Felix Thursday's album. And I'll be honest, it turned out it's not as easy as I thought it was gonna be, you know. But we'll get it, you know. I'm just learning. It's my first one,
Right on.
but we've
Good.
I've had some curveballs thrown at me and whatever, but it's cool. He's got a nice little home studio over there, and this uh, so I've been recording. I recorded a couple things for him for one of those least of all recordings. Have you ever heard of those guys?
Yeah, I
You
actually
should do
have.
one of those, man. Now that you're feeling better, it's a good way to
Okay.
make a little money.
Yeah.
I made like, and they do all the fucking work for you too. They so how it works. I don't know if you've looked into it. Is you offer like 10 songs,
Uh-huh.
and then like your fans will go through and they'll pick what song they want you to record, and you just do like a home recording for them. You
Okay.
like record like a personal message. It's kind of like Cameo, but instead they don't see your face, but they get like a 7-inch vinyl
Oh,
that comes with like a little special. Well, actually, I don't know if it comes with art. I think it's just a regular 7-inch vinyl, but it's really cool. It costs them like $20, and you get like a pretty good cut of that. I don't want to say what, but I made a few bucks off of it, man, and you'd probably make more since people like you better, and you're better than
no,
me.
jeez. I don't
But
know
yeah,
about
man, I think that'd be yeah, you would be a shoe in for something like that, and they pretty much take anybody. They don't care, you know.
that. Right
It's
on.
not like a
Yeah.
popularity contest. They're not going to be like, you only have so many Facebook likes. We don't want to
Right.
work with you. You know,
And you said
they're
it's
cool about.
least of all recordings?
Yeah, I'll send you the link when we get done.
Yeah. I've heard of it. I didn't know much about it though. That
The cool
sounds.
thing is too is everybody nailed it at once. So now it's not as. I guess I shouldn't say it's like not as popular, but like not as there won't be as much
Oh,
competition for you.
it's not as saturated out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, there won't be as many people competing. Like I was like people were like, should I get Rachel Brooks' album or Dog Bites? You know, so
Oh,
like
gotcha.
there was a lot of good artists doing it when I was doing it. So, and they are kind of spendy. You know, it's a very personal thing. So, but it's easy if you know how to record. But anyways, long story even fucking longer. That's how I met him. He was my neighbor, and he told me like he had all this experience, and I was kind of like, oh yeah, okay, you know.
Sweet.
But he was like, come over and record, and I was like, all right, fuck it. I don't want to like do it on a computer. Like we might as well see
Yeah,
what he's got
right.
over there. And he's cool, man. So I've been working with him a lot. His name is Mike Velasquez, but he's yeah, it's been cool working with him. That's about what I've been up to, man. Like I said, it's a pandemic, dude. I want to get some other shit going, and it's hard as shit to write. you know?
Yeah, and well, yeah. Where's all your inspiration coming from? Fucking sitting around
Yeah.
watching the reruns of the X Files, you know?
Well, yeah, that, and yeah, I'm very, and I don't have, I don't know, when I write, like I need to be in my own headspace, and it's hard for me to do that. My life's pretty loud, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you know, I live in, you see my house, it's small, you know, and I got three dogs now. I'm a glutton for punishment. When you came, it was just those two crazy ones. We got one, it's even, we got a fucking pit bull,
Your
so he's
puppy. Yeah.
even crazier than the other two. You know, I got a kid and an old lady, and then I work a bunch, so it's like when, you know, but
Yeah.
I actually, I'm gonna be renting a space in Hepner. This gal wants me to sell. She's the music director of the local community college, and she wants me to help her sell a bunch of used instruments and parts and stuff like that online because she doesn't have the time to do it. And she
Oh,
offered
cool.
to pay rent or part of rent on a place, and I actually found one, which is crazy. So it's all kind of lined up. Like I didn't have this plan, but I'm supposed to be moving in this place in March. It's just a little office, but I'm thinking about like trying to do more for the label as its own. You know, working into
Hmm.
like making my own T-shirts and shit like that, and trying to maybe drum up some business and get some clientele from you know around, but trying to utilize it for a few things so that once those instruments are all sold, maybe I can keep it. But it's good size. There's like a bathroom in there, and it's like there's like a little like a pretty good sized room in the back, and uh, but yeah, I mean, I see myself spending some time there.
There you go, and give you a little spot to write and practice and rehearse without being interrupted or bothering anybody else.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's next to the local paper office, and the guy that owns it's pretty cool, and it's like it's month to month too, so he knows. Like I'm like, look, this could go belly up in a month, like, and
Yeah,
I'll just
right.
pack my shit and leave, and he's like, oh, it's cool, you know, whatever. Like
Right on, man.
I'm not gonna burn him or anything, but at the same time, I might be gone in a month, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how it goes. That's
Hmm.
how it goes.
But yeah,
Right
he's
on.
been great, so I'm pretty excited about that too, but. We'll see
Well,
where
it
that
sounds like
goes.
you've been making good use of your time then. I mean, because you have been working and raising a family,
Yeah.
so there's that. But also, it sounds like you've been putting a couple irons in the fire in a good constructive way. I mean,
Yeah, the label had a pretty good year aside from the, you know, pandemic and missing out on a couple good sized shows we were planning.
hmm
We put out some good releases this year and had some good sales, and we kind of cornered the live stream market right when the pandemic hit before it was beaten to death. So we got this instant burst of people like digging us, and I was
watching stuff. Yeah.
throwing different people on there every week to get people going, you know, and keep people busy, you know. And now it's not as everybody's gonna go look another live stream. It's just like going to a show, I guess. But but yeah, so yeah, the page went up like 1,000 likes this year, which
Nice.
we were like down hard. I felt like I don't know, I was feeling pretty low there for a minute. We weren't getting much attention, and just not a lot of shit was happening. So it
hmm
was kind of cool to have a better year.
Well, that's good, man. I'm glad. And it sounds like you've also, like been taking the time that you have from off the road to learn a new skill and, get in there and see a little bit more how it works on the production side of things
Yeah.
on the other side of the microphone, which is always there's a lot to it. Like you said, it can be a complicated thing. Every time I watch any of the guys that I've worked with, I'm just like, I don't understand what all these things are
Yeah.
that you're doing. There are so many buttons and knobs and stuff, but
Yeah, there's a lot, man. I'm sure eventually it'll click, you know. And I've been pretty much strictly producing that album, and Mike's been doing the production side of shit. But I've been kind of pushing him. I'm like, I want to know how to do this, and
hmm
he's like, we'll get there. Just produce for now. And then I could kind of see why, because didn't do as good a job at producing as I should have, you know.
yeah.
So like, which is cool. I think he kind of expected it because he kind of let me fall on my ass, you know, a little bit. So once we got the mixes back, I was like, ugh. Like, we got to change all this shit. And he's like, I agree. I was like, cool.
Well,
So,
that's
like,
that's good. At least you weren't in disagreement with your engineer. Yeah,
yeah,
I know.
yeah, when and it was just like particular things, like I think we should add this, and like essentially what happened is like I thought we could do it with minimum resources and minimum money, and I could be happy with the product I put out, and that's just not the case, you know. Like, we were just gonna try to run it with just stand up bass and guitar, and then Felix on vocals and rhythm, and just run it as a 3 piece, and it was just like the guitar was like too loud. I'm like, so now we got to looking to get drums on it and some
Oh,
other stuff. So there's just like it needs to be filled up. You know, it's like empty, kind of.
well,
You know?
that's part of the process, man.
Yeah,
You get an idea and you get in there and you lay a track and then listen to it and see if it works or not. Sometimes that's the only way to know. That's how you learn.
yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But I was like, yeah, we won't be getting this out as quick as I thought we would, which is fine. I'd rather be happy with it and proud of it and have it be like, look, this is what I did.
That is exactly the situation that I'm in with the full length album. It was just like I not that my like the I did it at the firing room in Bend with some of the Flask guys, and it was like what was done well. It was just like it was all on me. Like, my timing was a little off. The song has changed a
Yeah,
little bit since then, and it's like yeah, it's been 2 years, 2.5 years, and nothing's been released. I haven't released it's I don't even know when the last time I actually released an album was. I think it's been like 3 or 4 years, but I'm not in a rush to put something out that I regret. Like some of my earlier stuff, I listened back to it. I'm like, God, why did I ever sell this to anybody? So it's kind of like I want to make sure that this one's done well and it's done right, and can be genuinely proud of it when it goes out.
hmm
So it's kind of just like, all good things take time, as I was reminded of recently.
yeah, man. And I guess you probably, I can imagine like being in the position that you're in, you might be little okay with slowing things down a bit, but at the same time, kind of wanting to speed things up a bit too. Feeling like
Yeah.
you
Oh,
lost a step, but being like, yeah, maybe that's all right because I'm good now. You know,
yeah. I want to get back to it so bad, but I'm also like, okay,
enjoy life and not
yeah, a
be
little bit like
paid.
when it was like, oh, we're not allowed to play shows this year. Like, I guess I picked a good year to fucking die. Like, if there was ever gonna be a year where I couldn't tour, this is the one. So
Yeah,
I
man.
have to be thankful for that, I suppose.
You're pretty regular on the Europe trip too. You can almost
Yeah,
set your clock when you're gonna go, huh?
I've been over there 6 times, and 2019 was the first summer I didn't get to go because of the cancer thing. I was going to go back, and then 2019 was the first one I didn't get to go back because of cancer. And then 2020 I can't go because of COVID. So 2021, let's keep our fucking fingers crossed. And like I miss all my friends in France and Belgium and the Netherlands. Like yeah, I miss it over there a whole bunch. Like I have
Yeah,
dreams about it, man. Sitting there, I have dreams, and in my dreams, conversations will be had in multiple languages, and it's like it's weird. I have dreams about. I had a dream the other day where I was on a road trip with a friend of mine from the Netherlands, and we were going to a music festival in Louisiana or something like that. It didn't make any sense, but like it was happening, and we were just having so much fun. I just remember I don't remember. It was a couple weeks ago. I don't remember the details, but like I remember where we were having like these great conversations and just like laughing a whole bunch, and it was just this like, very joyful experience. And I woke up and I was like, "Fuck, man! Like I miss it. I miss it a lot. I
yeah.
mean, it's, it's the life I enjoy the most is being out on the road playing music. So hopefully we'll get back to it. But until then, nose to the grindstone, making money, working hard, trying to write, trying to do some recording when I can. I'm working on, I'm trying to buy a piece of property in New Mexico to build a house and like I don't want to call it a compound because it's not quite that militant, but
Yeah.
um, but I got a spot. I got a spot that I am dead set on. I'm absolutely in love with the property. I'm in love with the surrounding areas. It's 35 miles off of the interstate. It's 50 miles to the nearest town, like city, that has like a real grocery store and stuff. You know, it's like 35 miles north of the Mexican border. It's right on the Arizona border out there. It's situated in between these two mountain ranges to the east and the west. So you get a sunrise over one mountain range every morning and a sunset over the other one every evening. It's just gorgeous, gorgeous land out there. And it's, you know, there's a very small community. The community that's right nearby, I think the population in 2010 for the 2010 census was like 101. So it might be a little less by now because it doesn't seem to be growing, but it's hard to tell.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's just like, you know, they're kind of artist centric folk, but also the kind of folks that are they're just sick of the hustle bustle to the point that they've chosen to remove themselves from humanity for the most part.
Hmm.
And you know, some of the darkest skies in the country are out there.
I
So
love New
you,
Mexico. It's one of my
oh man,
favorite fucking states, man. I never did very good as far as playing. Don't think I've ever played a fucking show in New Mexico, but I've
yeah.
driven through that desert multiple times, and
Well,
it's one of my very favorite fucking places to drive through. I'll tell you that. It's a
yeah,
great state, man.
I agree, man. It's gorgeous. I mean, you got Route 66 running through it on the north end, and then you got the I-10 running through the desert out there along the Mexican border on the south end. And I think it's awesome. All the history and the heritage that's in that state too. It's one of the few states in the country that's still like they tout that native pride hard. Like they're all about it. And there's so much native influence in the state, and like they really embrace that culture there. And the attitude, man, people are friendly. They really are. They're just like they're good folks. I made so many friends, you know, just traveling around. I was just there a couple weeks ago, a week ago, I don't know when it was, but very recently. I was there for about a week, traveling around, scouting some stuff, and like everyone you talk to is just a pal. You know, they're all kind, and they want to talk and they want to make friends, and it's not. I get the feeling like here in Southern Oregon, you come across a lot of ignorant hick type folks, like not even rednecks, just ignorant hicks. You
Yeah,
know, like they
I
wish they
understand the
were.
feeling. You know where I'm
Yeah,
from.
and it's there's a lot of like these people got a lot to prove for some reason. They're always trying to impress somebody or trying to prove something to somebody or show off in some way, and they're always looking for a confrontation. And I don't know if that's the lack of sunshine up here or what it is, but down there it's a different story, man. People are I just didn't get that same attitude from a lot of folks, and it's been that way every time I've traveled through New Mexico. I've always loved it. I've always found it very tranquil and peaceful, and when you do have to deal with the people there, I've always found the people to be really approachable and friendly and kind, and like I mean, what more could you want, you know? And
what are
so,
what are some of your other favorite states, man? Just curious.
I love Colorado. Colorado's beautiful.
Colorado's up high on my list too.
Yeah, I've always had a real soft spot for
All of it too, man. It's a state that's a lot like Oregon.
yeah,
There's so much different
right.
landscape
It
there.
varies a lot,
Like
you
people
know.
don't understand there's like a desert in Colorado. They all think of
Yeah,
Aspen and snow. And I actually
yeah,
played. I got a chance to play in Denver for the first time like a year and a half ago. Um, and it was fucking fun, man. Like
yeah.
I'd never been there. I'd been to Grand Junction, a couple other places there, but I've never actually been to Denver. I think I'd maybe drove through it or around it, but like downtown Denver is kind of like it reminded me of what Seattle was like before it fell apart. You
Right.
know?
Yeah, it's a big city. It's a big city and it's a bustling city, but it's beautiful and it's cool and you know, it's clean.
Hmm.
I last time I was in Denver was when I was on tour with Larry and his Flask, and we had a real fun show in Denver, and then we had an even funner show in Colorado Springs with Tijuana Street Corner Thieves, and that man, that was a great place. That was the Black Sheep, I think, is what the name of that venue was. We had a blast. That was a fun show.
Cool.
But I've always, ever since I started traveling, the two. It's funny because the two first states that I traveled to as an adult, like by airplane was when I was 19. And I mean, I had done other travels and stuff like that before, but I started fighting fire when I was 19. And the first time I got on an airplane, I got sent to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then spent 2 weeks out in the forests of New Mexico fighting fire in the Lincoln National Forest, and then up in, I can't remember, up near Santa Fe. And then we came back, and then the next one I got sent out to Colorado in Castle Rock, just so out near Colorado Springs, kind of, and was out there for a couple of weeks. And I totally fell in love with with those areas. But I've always had a soft spot for especially like Fort Collins. Like Fort Collins, Colorado is a cool little town, and I always really liked stopping through there and playing there whenever I can. But man, like I don't know, like New Mexico is beautiful. Colorado is awesome. I've got a lot of love for Southern Louisiana,
I was gonna say
especially around.
Louisiana, man, is one of my favorites too, man. You're nailing it with me, man.
Yeah, New
Fucking
Orleans
love
is such a cool
Louisiana.
city. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
all the food and the same kind of thing. The attitude of the people. I
Hmm.
mean, there's some wild ones out there. That's
Oh
for sure.
yeah, yeah, dude.
But
But it's still cool, man. But even at your like local, like you're talking about how New Mexico's got that, and this is kind of why I asked too, because you were talking about New Mexico and how everybody's like really down to talk and be friendly, and that's how I gathered every inch of Louisiana I was in, from the big
hmm
city to the fucking just the little, and it's almost like driving through a piece of old America.
yeah,
Not everything's like
exactly.
modern there. It's like I feel like I almost like feel like I fucking belong. Like it's like it feels like it's almost feel like nothing's changed since the 60s almost, you know?
I get you, man. I know
And
exactly what you mean.
it's great, and everybody's just you get those old gas stations that aren't chains. They're selling
Yeah,
fucking pig's feet or some weird shit in the fucking store, but
oxtail and all kinds of
yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah. They got those weird sausages with like the rice and stuff. I don't know, but yeah, it's all kinds. There's it's just it's so, but everybody's so friendly, even at those little just hole in the wall places that aren't
Yep.
anywhere near a city.
Yeah, and I think it's weird because like the states I love are not always necessarily the states that I like to tour in.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? All the time. Because like California is great for touring, but I'll
Yeah,
never
but
live
it's
in
not my favorite.
I'll never live in California again. And it has it has nothing to do with the landscape or even some of the people. Like I love the Sierra Nevadas, and Eastern California is awesome. The Mojave is fucking fabulous. It's beautiful, but
Hmm.
it's just like I was born in California and we left for a reason. And like I can't. Every time I've thought about going back, you start looking into it, and it's just like it's just financially unfeasible to do. It's such a headache just to try and be there even. So, um, but like you know, Utah is another one. Like I've never had like fantastic shows in Utah. I've played a couple of good shows that were okay in Salt Lake and um geez, I guess that's about it,
I
really.
just interviewed Lauren Walker Madsen yesterday and actually talked about how much I
Oh
loved
yeah.
Utah, which is where he's from.
It is a real fun state to drive through and to
Salt Lake
be
City's
in.
a cool city too, man. Everybody gets all bent out of shape about the Mormon shit, but
And
it's such a great city.
Mormons in Salt Lake can be a little bit much, but I think Mormons in general are like some of the nicest religious people in the entire
We
world.
actually had that conversation too. I've got Mormon family too, man, and there I was like I told Lauren, I said that's they're not even my word like my least favorite form of religion, like
No.
not even close.
Like oh
Not
you
even my
like
least favorite form of Christianity.
like you guys are super into helping the community. You're all about charity. You will never turn someone down for help if they ask if you can, and you believe in like aliens and shit. So yeah. Sign me up. No. Um but yeah, man, Utah's beautiful. I've always had a huge place in my heart for the desert Southwest. Arizona I really like, but it can be a little gnarly. Like
Yeah, it's a little brutal.
yeah,
Have you
it's
ever been
like
up towards Jerome in that area?
yeah, I have. And I
Jerome's
mean,
cool. It's one of my favorite towns.
I've been through there, and then like that whole area of like Prescott and up in Flagstaff and all that stuff is really cool, and it's very different. Um, and I do like it a lot. I mean, even where you're down in the southern part of the state where it's 120 degrees in the summer, but you're down there in is that the Sedona Desert where
Yeah, I
you're
think
all the
so.
saguaro cactuses and stuff. It's really cool, but I like it. But there's something that happens when you hit that mesa into New Mexico that just sort of like, I don't know, it changes it for me. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just a big sign that says welcome to the land of enchantment, but I've just always kind of preferred New Mexico to Arizona. But man, like I don't know, like you said, Louisiana's always a huge favorite. I almost moved to New Orleans several years ago and still keep it as a thing that I'd like to maybe try someday, but um the I'm trying to think.
Montana's pretty high on my list too.
Montana?
Yeah.
Yeah, Montana is gorgeous, man. And that's exactly that was kind of going to be my next statement was that like I've traveled through there. I got family, my grandparents, my great grandmother and my grandmother are both from there originally, from Anaconda. And Anaconda and I guess my great grandma was born in she was born in Butte, but they lived in like Kalispell and Phillipsburg and stuff. But
Well,
my
my
great
grandpa was born in Butte too, actually. Actually, he wasn't born, but he was raised there. Born in Florida, but raised in Butte for a long,
okay.
long
So
time.
my great grandmother's grandfather was a homesteader. He came out from Pennsylvania and homesteaded in Kalispell, Montana, back in like the fucking forever ago. So
Yeah.
like give you an idea, he came out, he homesteaded and then worked for the railroad like when it started to come through, and then his son, so my great great grandfather and his brother, um, both fought in World War One. They went to France and Belgium in World War One, and my uncle died there and is buried there somewhere. And my great great grandfather, he ended up getting hit with some of that mustard gas or chlorine gas from the Germans, but survived and made it back. But he became one of the very first forest rangers, and was a forest ranger up there in Phillipsburg, Montana, until he retired. And
Right.
then my great grandmother met my great grandfather in Butte when my great grandfather, who was from LA, was up there going to school for the Navy during World War II, and they met there and got married, and they lived there for in Montana for I think about a year after the war, and then moved. And then after my grandma was born in Anaconda, they came back to LA and they lived there until they died. My great grandma passed away in 2019, so just recently. She was like 93 years old. But man, they had stories. But Montana is beautiful. It is gorgeous up there. But I've always liked it, but I don't think I could ever live there. It's just a little too harsh in the wintertime.
Yeah, the winter's what throw it off for me too, because we've always talked about it, too. Like, oh, let's go to Montana, and then I'm like, those fucking winters, though. I could do it.
Pretty brutal
And then
sometimes.
same with, I actually really like, the upper states, like up in like Illinois is a cool state, and then Wisconsin and Michigan, that whole little area
Mhm.
there is cool too. But the winters in Michigan and Wisconsin I wouldn't.
Oh, dude, I know.
I just
Yeah,
like visiting there in the fall. It's really cool. It's a cool state, but nothing I'd like pine to live in.
yeah. I dated a girl who was from Minneapolis for a little while.
Oh, Minnesota's cool too.
Well, and she was going to college in Madison, Wisconsin, and I went and visited her a few times, and I spent about a week there, um, in the middle of February one year, and I was just like, what in the name of God are you doing here? Like, this is so fucking miserable. It's just that lake effect, man, the wind, and it's just, I think like I was there for almost 2 weeks, I think, and I think the warmest it got was like 19 degrees. Like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah, they learn how to function in that shit. Everything shuts down around here when it gets to be like 9.
Yeah, dude, and they're like walking to school. I'm like, what? She's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I have a car, but it's parked 6 blocks away. If we want to go to the grocery store or a restaurant or anything, we just walk, and I'm like, but they're all out of temperature out there. What do you mean?
They're all out of temperature out there.
No, so cold. Yeah, it's. I mean, and for a little bit it's fine, but like, and then you know that as soon as it stops being that cold, it's going to be equally as humid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, I'm out. I don't. No, not for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've another state that I've always loved driving through, and have always found felt a really kind of I don't know, like mystical sort of heaviness to whenever I've gone through South Dakota. South Dakota's
yeah, man. And I just went through there for the first time. The first time ever going through. Well, I think I've went through, but it's been night, and we were doing real long, quick night drives. Like once we went from like Montana to Nebraska, it was like a 20-hour drive. So I think I slept through it like twice probably, but I never like was awake to take it in. That's another state that's kind of like, it's weird because I felt like I was like in the early 90s or like late 80s there. You know, like just eating at like restaurants.
It's exactly what it is. Like it's a throwback. It's a throwback to a better time. I want to say a more simpler time, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I liked it there. It was fun, man.
Something that I found in New Mexico is this, and it's similar to South Dakota, is that there's just such a vast amount of untouched landscape.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much open land, open range, where it's been, maybe there's a little fence to keep some cows in or something, but like there's just so little development out there that it really gives you a sense of what the natives saw, or what our Caucasian ancestors were seeing coming across the plains. And like, you can just imagine some of that, with the vastness. You roll up on it and you're just in your little wagon train moving west, and that's all you can see in front of you, and you're just like, wow, okay, how much further? But it is so beautiful though when you come out of Yellowstone. I mean, of course, Yellowstone is one of the most majestic places on the planet. That's a given. But you roll out of Yellowstone into what is that? I guess it's Cody, Wyoming.
Yeah,
I think that you roll into when you come out of the east side, and you roll into Cody, Wyoming, and then you're just out there on the Great Plains, and you just see these thunderstorms coming in on the horizon every night, and then you move into to South Dakota, and what is those? Is it it's the Bighorn Mountains, I think, that you come through. Yeah. Because you come in, there's this little town that I've been through a couple of times, and I've actually met some really cool people there. And it's right at the base of the Bighorn Mountains. It's called Ten Sleep, Wyoming.
Oh, cool.
And it's like, it ain't much, but what it is pretty neat, and it's like, it seems like it's a place mostly for hunters to kind of camp before going out on their hunts in the season or something. But I've been through there a couple of times, and like I said, I've met some really neat people there, and it's a fun little spot. Like it's just quirky, and I'm pretty sure it's haunted. And like, it's really neat. And then you drive up through the Bighorn Mountains, and they're gorgeous. They're just absolutely gorgeous. And then you roll through on the east side, and you come into South Dakota, and South Dakota is just, it's like New Mexico. It's a very unique and rich heritage state. There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot there. There's a lot of native ancestry, not a lot of native history there. And even with the Wild West and stuff, I mean, that's where oh, what's his name? Not Doc Holliday. The Aces and Eights kid.
Not Cody. It's not Buffalo Bill, right? That you're thinking of?
No, he's Buffalo Bill. Yeah, Buffalo Bill. I was thinking Billy the Kid, but no, Buffalo Bill. Died there in Deadwood, and so you got and that is a weird little town, and it's super neat, and it's kind of stuck in like the late 1800s up there in the Black Hills, and you got spearfish and sturgis, of course, and stuff. But then you come across the whole state, and there's all the, like, what is it? Crazy Woman Canyon or something like that. It's like it's an interesting place. I've always felt, like I said, a real fascination when driving through and
majestic
South Dakota. Yeah, I think it's cool. that whole area, man. Like I said, South Dakota, Colorado, New Mexico,
Yeah. There's something
Louisiana.
about just deserts too. Like you're saying, deserts are pretty big. I'm drawn to them, and then like you're saying, like I like just shit that doesn't feel like it's been touched. Like you were
Yeah,
saying too.
exactly. And
I think
that's
that's
where
kind of the fascination with me and some of Illinois. You know, like a lot of the parts in Illinois that are just farmland. I imagine kind of the same thing. As like this is what it looked like
hmm
back in the day. Like not much has changed. You know.
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely. And yeah, man, that's why I'm looking at New Mexico. Like I said, I've got this piece of property that I've got my heart kind of set on. And that's probably stupid because I'm probably not going to be able to buy it before it gets sold, and I'm probably going to be heartbroken about it, but I'm trying. But it's 40 acres. 40 acres of Southwest New Mexican high plains desert sitting at like 4,200 feet elevation. It's got a small yucca forest on the land. It already has a well and a septic that's been put in. The woman who owned it used to rent it to RVers. And so there's a power pole and a communications hookup. So there's like cable, internet and telephone lines are there. And then there's the power pole and the well and the septic. And so it was kind of set up for people to just like roll an RV on, plug in, hook up to water and sewer and just camp out there. Um, but it's for sale. It's been for sale for almost a year, and I'm trying to I'm talking to the realtor, and I got to come up with the purchase price is $58,000. So it's not that bad, really.
Oh, that's pretty good for especially
And
nowadays.
yeah, like I said, it's far removed out from anything, and so that's why it hasn't gotten a lot of interest. I think a lot of older folks tend to want to retire out in that part of the country,
But they want their
and
shit set up and ready to go.
and being an hour away from medical care from the nearest hospital is kind of a tough one for a lot of folks. But for me, I don't care. I want to build my own house. I want to build a geodesic dome home out there in a big shop, and not huge, but big enough for me to have and play with and have my stuff in and have my little spot out there in the middle of nowhere. And then and then I can come and go as I please, as I need to travel and tour. That's the idea, and have a spot down there, when you're passing through, where because it really is, it's kind of it's about halfway, where it is, it's about halfway between Las Cruces and Tucson, and there's not anything else out there. And so it would be a rad place for, all our friends when you're traveling through. If it's like, you got a spot that you can always come and camp,
Mhm.
and I'll have having the shop and everything there. It'll be nice. It's like, even if I'm not there, I can have it set up to where there's a place to pull in and like, have that maybe like outdoor showers and or like a spot to come in and park inside of a shop and get out of the elements or whatever. But like for the friends, 40 acres is a pretty good spread, and there's another vacant 40-acre lot right next to it that who knows, maybe I could pick up eventually. So that's kind of the plan. That's the idea. It's like I said, right now I'm just trying to, I've got money saved up. I've got about I got access to about $5,000 right now. And unfortunately it's difficult to get a loan on land, on vacant land. I don't know why, but mortgage companies are really reluctant to loan on vacant land, even if you plan on building on it. So
Mhm.
I'm just trying to figure out a way to secure some financing to get, like I said, about $50,000. I think I could get the woman to come down to 55 easily enough if I offered it. So if there's anybody listening out there that would be willing to loan me $50,000 at let's throw it out to you. Let's say, between 8 and 15% interest, which is pretty high, but it's understandable. It's a hard money loan. I could definitely have it paid back in 5 years or less. And just go ahead and get a hold of me. But yeah, man, that's about all I got going on right now, really.
Right on, man. Well, shit, man. Let's call it a wrap. And it was good seeing you, man. I'm happy.
Likewise.
Thanks for sharing your story with us, man. I don't know if that was hard for you to talk about or not, but
No, it's just life, man.
yeah,
It's not easy. It's not hard. It just is. Just got to move forward and do the best we can with what we got, right?
I guess so, man. That's a good way to look at it. But man, yeah, it was good talking with you, man. So
Likewise, Aaron. It's good to see you.
yeah, you too, man. Hopefully we can meet up and hang out at some point in time this year. Fucking
Yeah.
do a show or something.
I'll see about as soon as your county gets a little bit easier, maybe I'll be able to come out and do another show in Pendleton, come out that way or something like that.
Yeah, man. Dude, so real quick, Hamley's got sold. I don't know if you knew that or not.
No, I didn't. Shit.
The Indians got it from the casino.
Uh-oh.
So I was like, what a kind of bittersweet moment. The Indians got their shit back from a
That's
bunch
funny.
of cowboys.
About the Cowboy Steakhouse.
Yeah, they bought a big cowboy steakhouse. So the Indians own the cowboy place in Pendleton now too. So I was kind of like, yeah, but it's still open, still rolling.
It's still up and running?
Yeah, still same place. Probably still management. I doubt they did too much about it. So whoever you got a hold of.
Yeah, I had a couple of friends. I had two friends from Southern Oregon actually that were involved in it and worked out there, and then I was in touch with I think her name's Amy, the talent buyer. So I don't know, definitely worth reaching out at some point, figure out what's going on.
Yeah, maybe now they'll be able to get you into casino business too. I mean, I don't know. I think they look more for like cover bands and shit, but
God, I know some songs.
all right, buddy. It was good seeing you, man. I'll talk to you later.
Likewise, my friend. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Valley of the shadow of you, I find myself torn down, broken, battered and blue. There was something I could do to get to where I once was. There were times when I was so alone, but none of them ever felt quite this cold. As I walk through the valley of the shadow alone, so alone, so alone, so alone. I used to run wild, roaming free. Nobody that I wanted to worry had to care for me. It was there I made a home in lonely. The moon got its ways to my faith, but me a path to your beauty and a bridge to grace. I'll burn it down to embers, baby, and let ruin take my place. Let it take my place. Let ruin take my place. Did you find Christ lying in the water? All I found was the devil in your soul. I felt the sting burning, hit me hard as you closed your eyes and let me go. Imperfect as I ever was, just a wolf without a moon, calling to you, just looking for some truth, just looking for the truth. Valley of the shadow of you, I find myself wishing I could be something new, like a better man who ain't no lost who once was. Without this memory so vivid and clear, and all the lost tragedies that I hold dear, maybe then I'll find a way to find my way to wisdom, let loose all my fears, let loose my fears, let loose of all my fears. Did you find Christ lying in the water? All I found was the devil in your soul. I felt the sting burning, hit me hard as you closed your eyes and let me go. Imperfect as I ever was,
just a wolf without a moon, moving through you, just looking for some truth, just looking for some truth, just looking for some truth, just looking for the truth. I used to run wide, roaming free. No more you there to wonder, worry, hate, and care for me. It was there I made a home and lonely. Moon goddess, will you still my faith? Put me a path to your beauty and a bridge to grace. I'll burn you down to embers, baby, and let ruin take my place. Let it take my place. Let ruin take my place. As I ever was, there's just a wolf without a moon, calling to you, just looking for some truth, just looking for the truth, just looking for the truth, just looking for the truth. Makes you wicked for a lifetime. He's playing tricks on my mind, cause you're making love to me. There's evil in your bloodline. Makes you wicked for a lifetime. He's playing tricks on my mind, cause you're making love to me. There's evil in your bloodline. There's evil in your bloodline. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of you, I find myself torn down, broken, battered, and blue. Wish there was something I could do to get to where I once was. There were times when I was so alone, but none of them ever felt quite this cold. As I walk through the valley of the shadow alone, so alone, so alone, so alone, so alone, so alone. Darkness, you're merely a ghost. Despite your brilliance, a glimmer at most. And in my nightmares, you ruled all the land. Oh, my destroyer of worlds, please let me let go of your long-fingered hand.
Ruckus in the Records proudly brings to you the Dogwater Radio Show, starring Dogbite Harris. Also featuring Jody Mattern as the lovable but perverse Blackwater Derg.